Up here now. So I alluded to this in the first video, but there are some topics that we need to get on the same page with. So there are three major concepts here that we're going to deal with just very, very quickly, just to make sure everybody's on the same page and we're all literally speaking the same language when we talk about this concepts here. So the first of which is digital equity. And before I dive into these, I provided some definitions here for you, and I have for all three of these, I've given you some definitions. What I like to do with participants is have you come up with your own definitions first rather than just give this to you. But because of our format, I'm going to force feed this to you. But I would highly encourage you to pause this video, to open up a new tab and go Google these on your own. Maybe go to YouTube and search what is digital equity or digital equity explanation, digital navigator explanation. Struggling with that one there apparently. Just getting some context and spending some time crafting your own view of what these concepts mean. But I am going to go through them here pretty quickly with you. So digital equity, equity means all. We do this thing where we sometimes conflate equity and equality, and that's a big difference between those two things. So equity is everybody gets what they need, and equality is everybody gets the same thing. And so the difference there being I could have a cell phone, but I might need some extra support. And the person next to me, all they need is a cell phone and they can get to what they need. But maybe I need a little bit of extra support. Equality means we both got the cell phone. Equity means we both got the cell phone and I also got a little bit of extra support because that's what I need to be able to access those resources here. So again, I really like to highlight the very bottom here, the difference between equity and equality, because when we use the word equity, we're talking about those systemic barriers that need to be broken down before people can access the resources and getting equality for everybody. So what are those barriers in your daily life with the people that you work with that maybe need to be broken down? And when we talk about digital equity, we're talking about access to information and the resources to take full participation in our society. More than ever, digital equity and access to resources and the know how to use them is a basic fundamental human right at this point, right? We need these digital resources to pay our bills, to access health services, to access civic services, those types of things. So just keeping that in mind, it's not a luxury anymore. One of my biggest pet peeves, I guess I never told you my actual job. I work with teachers in integrating technology in the classroom as a day to day. And one of my biggest pet peeves is when they say, oh, I'm just not techie. That's okay, but your students are. And techie is a temporary state of existence for everybody. We are all going to find ourselves in situations where we wouldn't consider ourselves techie because that's just what learning is. The trick is that technology growth happens so fast. So the next term that I want us to dig into and be familiar with, again, feel free to pause the video and go do your own Googling or YouTubing at any point here. So the digital divide is essentially the difference between the haves and the have-nots, right? So technology is constantly growing. I just mentioned this. We know it is one of the fastest moving things out there, right? Just thinking about the growth rate of technology and cell phones over the last 10 years is astounding. And so that can create this divide. And typically the people who are in that divide are people of lower income, the elderly population, just because of the access to those resources. So I have a list of people here who are statistically find themselves experiencing that digital divide at a higher rate. So again, the digital divide here is just that separation between the people who have the skills, who have the access, who have the tools, and those that do not. And then digital navigation or digital navigator, this is really anybody who can help someone else engage in those skills. In one of the trainings, someone asked me, when did the first digital navigator, like when was the first digital navigator? The first time there was a piece of technology, and this does not mean electronic technology. The first time there was a piece of technology that someone did not know how to use and someone else did, and that person helped the other person. That's a digital navigator. We do it all the time. There's a bigger spotlight put on it now because of everything that I've talked about before. So at the risk of repeating myself, it's not just, hey, I want to surf the internet. It's we need to access some basic fundamental things online because that's the way the world is moving. And it's a human issue that we don't leave people behind. So what I am going to um I'm just now also realizing that this definition is wrong. That's good. All right, so I'm gonna fix that before you see this, and I'm not remaking this video. Uh, so take a second to check out this. Actually, no, watch this. I'm gonna pause the video, and you can watch me do this in real time. Just want to point out that's proof that I'm not actually reading off the slides. Okay, so here is your definition of digital navigator. That looks a little bit better. So people, again, the people who assist other people in navigating these services. And that can be anybody and everybody on a day-to-day. So take a second, read through the new definition here, go and Google these on your own, and then move on to the next slide here. And this will give you just a little bit of a check-in. These next couple of slides will give you just a way to synthesize and apply that learning.